Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Got a couple of micro compact 9s on the table. I've got the M&P Shield Plus from Smith & Wesson, and I've got the Masada 9S or Masada Slim, depending on where you look, from IWI. Please don't forget to check out our website. Go to our affiliates page. You'll find discount codes for things like Mantis Axe and Core belts. Link to that cool little bore light that we use for lighting up the barrels. Use those links. It will often save you money, never will cost you any additional money, and helps the channel. And please consider supporting the channel on Player, formerly Utreon, where we can do some types of videos that are no longer allowed on YouTube. We'd had a few requests for a comparison on these, so here we go. So the Smith & Wesson is kind of an extension of the M&P line, specifically the Shield line. The Shield Plus is a little bit higher capacity than the standard Shield in this micro compact format. Both of these are kind of on the larger side of that format, kind of on the edge, but they both still do fit in. Both of them have at least 10 rounds in their flush magazine. The Shield Plus actually has 10 rounds in its flush magazine, but its height is 4.6 inches from top to bottom. The Masada holds 13 rounds in its flush magazine, but at the penalty of height. It's 4.9 inches instead of 4.6. So if I set them up side by side, you can see the Shield Plus has the ability to be a little bit shorter if you use the 10 round magazine in it. And I'm going to put the 13 round magazine that's also available with it. And when you put the 13 round magazine in, it's pretty much identical to the IWI. So the Shield Plus has a bit of a size advantage because you can make it shorter if you give up the 3 rounds of capacity. But if you want the same capacity in both, they end up being the same height. Length, they're close enough to the same to really not matter. The IWI is 6.3 inches and the Shield Plus is 6.1. The IWI has a 3.4 inch barrel. The Shield Plus has a 3.1 inch barrel. So from that length perspective, they're fundamentally equal. From a width perspective, the Shield is just a hair thinner at 1.1 instead of 1.14. But 0.04 inches, you're not going to notice. It's not going to make a big difference in whether you can conceal carry it comfortably or not. Both of these do have the inertial toggle on the trigger, internal drop safeties. Inertial toggle, internal drop safeties. Both of them have a flatter style trigger. The IWI is kind of a true flatty trigger. The Shield's got a little bit of curvature to it, but it's flattened out more than the other Shield line, which actually had a kind of a noticeable curve in it. That's all the rage, is the flatty trigger these days. And things kind of move around what's in style and what's not. From a serrations perspective, the IWI kind of beats the Shield when it comes to serrations. Both of them do have front and rear serrations, but the IWI has really robust, solid, easy to get to front serrations, and the Shield has kind of these little harder to use fish scales right at the bottom. They're a little harder to get a hold of, and really good fish scales at the back. So I would say that the rear serrations are pretty much equal, but the IWI has better front serrations. From a texture perspective, a little bit of sandpaper finish undercut under the trigger, and no texture anywhere else on the gun other than the grip. And it is comfortable and it does not abrade you. The gun does stay where it belongs. The IWI is a little more contoured. It's got that same kind of sandpapery texture, but a little less sandpapery. It also is not abrasive, does not bite in, undercut in the trigger guard, and no serrations or pattern or texture on the trigger guard itself. The IWI, neither one of these do have Picatinny rails. The IWI kind of makes it look like it does, but it doesn't. That's not a rail, it's just decoration. You can see it looks like a rail, but it's not. From a ambidextrous perspective, neither one of these are ambi. No features on the other side. The Smith & Wesson is available with thumb safety. It's available in 30 Super Carry, which I don't think really is going to take off. It's not going to be a popular round. But there's lots of variations of this. With the IWI, you've got the 13 round version that's in my hand, and there's also a 10 round state compliant version available, but it'll be the same grip. So you'll have 10 rounds instead of the 13 in that amount of space, but at least you could have it in a restricted state. The IWI, the only version that's available is optics ready. And on the Smith & Wesson, the particular one in my hand is not optics ready, but there is an optics ready version available. It just wasn't available when I got this. The Smith & Wesson does have a witness hole for a loaded chamber indicator. Both of them have replaceable sights. And when you look at the sights, the 3-dot sights on the Smith & Wesson, I think are better than the IWI sights. I don't like blackout rear sights, but there at least are dots on the sight you can kind of use to locate for that elevation. But overall, I like the sights on the Smith & Wesson a little bit better. I was able to actually pull nice tight groups with the IWI. Those little dots gave me just enough reference information to do it, but I'd prefer if they stood out. I had to work at it. And when you're wanting to shoot and you're wanting to pull nice groups, you kind of don't want to have to work at it. The Smith & Wesson does have a bit of a weight advantage. It's 20.1 ounces as opposed to the 22.4 ounces of the Masada. 2 ounces probably won't make a huge difference, unless of course you were trying to leg carry it or ankle carry it, but the Shield does have a bit of an advantage there. The other advantage is going back to capacity. So I have the 13-round magazine in it. Of course you get the shorter grip with the 10-round magazine, and there's also a 15-round magazine available. Of course, it does lengthen it. Basically, that's how they get the space for the extra rounds. But this can make a good backup mag. So you can actually get a complete full 3-finger grip on it with that 15-round mag in there. And you could use this as a backup mag. With the 10-round mag, two-finger grip, that's it. The pinky finger's kind of hanging out in the breeze. And on the IWI, it's kind of just barely 3 fingers. You can see that the bottom half of my finger's hanging off. For the most part, my finger's on there, but it's not entirely on there. There's a little hanging off. I didn't get pinched by this on either gun, so I did not get pinched. The magazine doesn't move while it's operating, so it didn't pinch me. Both of these were reliable. MSRP, there's a little bit of a difference that could sway you in one direction or the other. So the IWI MSRP is $450. Of course, all of these you'll probably find less expensive at given times, but MSRP is consistent. $450 for the IWI, and there's only one version. The version you see, optics ready, whether you get the 13-round or the 10-round state-compliant version. The M&P, the one that's in my hand, has an MSRP of $499, so it's $50 more, and $549 to get the optics ready version of it. So it really, to get a apples to apples, to get 2 optics ready versions just like you see here, to make these equal, the IWI is $100 less, at least MSRP. And as I mentioned earlier, these are both 9mm, but the Shield Plus does have that 30 super carry option available. We did a review on the 30 super carry. It worked well. Had a little bit snappier recoil, but overall I didn't see a major advantage to it. So I think 9's going to stay right where it is in the lead for concealed carry. So price would probably be the biggest thing that would sway you one way or the other. From a reliability standpoint, both of these have been reliable. IWI in general, their guns are reliable. The M&P, the later series, especially the Shield Plus and the newer Shield series, have proven to be quite reliable. The various ones we've got just work. So I don't think reliability is going to sway you one way or the other. I will say that with the multiple versions available of the Shield Plus, you're more likely to find the one you're looking for. You like a thumb safety, and get a version with a thumb safety. On these striker guns with the internal safeties, I tend not to like that, but some people do. So diversity of choice may drive you towards the M&P. But overall, for $100 less to get apples to apples, the IWI has a lot to show for. And both of these prove to be easy to shoot well. And with the optic, if you don't like the blackout sights, you can put an optic on the IWI right out of the box. And that, of course, takes care of that. In the end, budget will definitely drive you in the direction of the IWI. If you've got other Shield products and you want that model line consistency, of course, the Smith & Wesson. But I don't think you'll go wrong with either one that you choose. Beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Player, Rumble. We're pretty much everywhere. And thank you.